Good news from the sporting world. U.S. women's soccer team to boycott scoring goals until racism is defeated. Onlookers were stunned during the second half of the game, where Rapinoe dribbled the ball all the way to Sweden's unprotected goal and whispered, "This is for you, people of color," before kicking the ball straight into the air and running headfirst into the goalpost. This may be one of the most powerful performances in the history of sports, says Teen Vogue sports writer who has never watched sports. Now, in case you didn't notice, this is a parody news story from a parody site. July 21st, 2021. We're only half a year into the Biden administration, and Biden's social justice policies are bringing Americans together from all walks of life, and it's good policy for Biden to harm Canada by canceling the Keystone Pipeline while approving the Russian pipeline so Putin can build hypersonic missiles aimed at Democrat big cities. And finally, Kamala Harris has fixed the border crisis by discussing the root causes of migrant caravans traveling north. So all of the work is done at the White House, and they can now focus on what's really important: censoring conservative news sites. Can you imagine if the Donald Trump White House viewed it as their number one goal of censoring any online news site that disagreed with their message? But that's the precise attitude of the Biden administration. Here's this article by Katie Pavlich of Townhall.com. During an interview with CNN this week, White House Communications Director Kate Bedingfield admitted the Biden administration's censorship efforts are specifically targeting conservative news sites for publishing, quote, misinformation, unquote. So generally, in the Biden lexicon, misinformation is where you have an opinion at odds with the Democratic Party. Here we have National Public Radio, a taxpayer-funded news service. They've been tasked with taking out Ben Shapiro and his Daily Wire conservative news site. Ben Shapiro clearly identifies his news website as being a conservative news outlet. Here, NPR is trying to get Facebook to take down any posts by the Daily Wire on Facebook itself. When did it become National Public Radio's job to control the news of other news outlets? At no time in our nation's history has it been the government's job to control the news. But the corporate news media is okay with this because they view people like Ben Shapiro and the Daily Wire as competition to the corporate elite media. White House flagging posts for Facebook to censor over COVID misinformation. White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki said that the Biden administration is identifying problematic posts for Facebook to censor because they contain misinformation about COVID-19. Can you imagine if the Trump White House viewed it as their job, probably assigning the entire staff at the White House, to control what people post on Facebook and other social media? With Joe Biden, it's business as usual, and everyone claps like seals because the emperor has no clothes, and we're all proud of the emperor having no clothes. So, what are we to make of all this? Let's ask Joe Biden what his focus is on bringing Americans together. This is the News Junkies cartoons.
I'm pretty confident that inflation is temporary, but if you're pumping all of this money into the economy, couldn't that add to...
No, look, here's the deal. Moody's today, when a Wall Street firm, not some liberal think tank, said if we pass the other two things I'm trying to get done, we will in fact reduce inflation.
So see here, Biden is already preemptively attacking the remaining Republicans in Congress, the minority party, for any economic downturn. It will be their fault that the Biden economy tanked.
Reduce inflation. Reduce inflation. Because they're going to be providing good opportunities and jobs for people who in fact are going to be reinvesting that money back in all the things we're talking about.
When Biden says reinvesting, what he actually means is that Democrat governors who deliberately shut down their schools and businesses in Democrat-run states, except the businesses that paid direct kickbacks and bribes to the Democratic Party, such as Hollywood, those Democrat governors are going to be rewarded for tanking their economies and bankrupting their states. Biden is going to take your money and reward Democrat governors for their bad decision-making, bad economic policy. And now Biden, when he says reinvest here, He's asking you to pay for the bill of those election shenanigans by the Democratic Party. The president we have in 2021, he thinks he is in the Senate fighting Republicans from 1990 because those are his arguments, those are his plans, and those are the things that he brings up to a sycophantic hack like Don Lemon of CNN.
Driving down prices, not raising prices. And so it is, I sincerely mean this. Prices are up now, and they're up, for example, you're in a position where you're trying to build a house, try to find 2x4s and lumber. Well, guess what? People stopped working cutting lumber. They stopped doing it because they're...
Why did people stop working? Because the Democratic Party made a calculated political decision to tank the American economy in 2020 to harm one man, President Donald Trump. They crushed your business, they crushed your economy, and they raised your taxes, all to get Donald Trump. And it's up to you whether you think this behavior should be rewarded in the 2022 and 2024 elections.
The unemployment was so down. Now all of a sudden there's this need because people are coming back, and guess what?
Except for the ones that were working on the Keystone oil pipeline.
Instead of paying 10 cents, you're paying 20. You understand what I'm saying?
When we had the White House tasking their entire staff in controlling conservative news media, you have to wonder, why is there nothing else for the White House to work on? All they're going to do is demagogue Republicans, attack all Trump voters as racists and supremacists and white nationalists, and blame everyone but themselves for the economic crisis that Joe Biden himself is creating. But at least we know that this team can't score, on or off the field. Thank you.